once you're free to, be whoever you want to be in the game, it helps you kind of sink into that character.
It's a cool way to be to, yeah, attract those like-minded people.
Something nerdy is gonna happen, and we're gonna make it cool, I think.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talkin' Nerdy on Outside of the Box. And I'm really excited to have this guest today because I would say you kind of do a lot of the same type of games that I do, but then you also do a lot of games that are very different than what I like to play. So I have Tayrae3 here to talk about her Twitch channel.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. So first of all, more than anything, what I always like to ask people, because, I obviously I like to think of growing a YouTube channel as a similar thing to growing a Twitch channel. And so I know how I got started and what I do. So I'm curious how you got started in the Twitch stuff.
so COVID. I feel like a lot of people was like COVID. But yeah, so let's see, it was like early 2021, I think. During COVID, I was like doing my master's in teaching, and I was, you couldn't really go out and do much. And so I started watching Twitch streams. I think I got my PS5 and I was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I found someone with YouTube videos on it. And then I found out they streamed. So I watched their stream, and then I watched their partner stream. And then I found some other streamers I liked. And I was like, this seems fun. I want to do this. And so with some like encouragement from people in those communities, I started streaming. Just I think it was like April 2021. And yeah, with the support of those communities, I got affiliate pretty quickly, which was nice. And yeah. Um so what is it now? Almost or 3 years, just over 3 years now. So
That's quite a while to be doing it. Now, I'm curious because I know that you have the background in teaching, and I
mhm.
mean, in a way, like I think teaching is similar to talking to a bunch of people in a Twitch channel, because you're kind of educating them on the game that you play and what you're doing. Do you feel like any parallels there?
Um Yeah, sometimes. So, I mean, sometimes when you're streaming and sometimes when you're teaching, you feel like you're talking to yourself and then no one's there. It's just kind of like, yeah. Um, Other than that, I feel like there's similarities and there's not. I'm probably more of like, I mean, comparing myself to like some of the other streamers who are in their communities, I'm very much more like laid back. As like a streamer, I'm a little more chill. I don't do like crazy redeems or like anything like that. More of like, yeah, like a put on while you work kind of calm vibe. And I think I am also like that as a teacher. So, I think really is just kind of brings out your personality, both do in that kind of way. Um, I personally bring in my own like teaching philosophies and like my joy of teaching to the stream. I have a redeem where you can spin the wheel of science, and I have some random science facts that are fun and not super tech. I try to make them not super technical, even if they have like technical origins. And so people redeem that, and I tell them a fact about science. And that's how I kind of bring my educator ways into this. Plus, I'm just like a nerd about science, and I want to tell everyone about all the things I know. And so that gives me an outlet as well.
Because you are a
Yeah.
nerd about science, and as you know, my channel is predominantly STEM based.
hmm
I would love to hear one of your favorite facts about science.
So the one I really like to share, there's a couple, but the ones that I feel like people really latch onto and um remember, I know for instance one of the people in my community, she said like she always thinks about this when she washes her hands, is soap micelles. It's like soap works because it has an exterior that is hydrophobic, exophilic, which likes water, and the interior dislikes water. So it lets oils on your hands when you wash, or like body, I guess if you're using body wash, it lets oils get sucked into the micelle, into the little circle. So it can wash off, right? So oil and water do not like each other. And so if the oil is pulled into something that likes water, then it can wash off with the water. So that's kind of like a little thing like you never maybe thought about how soap works. And that's just kind of like a fun, relevant one. And then another one I like is how you get vitamin D from the sun, because um, most vitamins you have to ingest, and vitamin D works by breaking down the cholesterol in your skin cells, and the breaking down of the cholesterol creates vitamin D in your skin, and so in your body.
That
Yeah.
is pretty cool stuff. And actually, the hand washing one I love in particular because I think there's a lot of people that assume that hand sanitizer takes care of anything. And so
Yeah,
there's
no.
certain things that you just have to wash your hands.
Yeah, hand sanitizer, like the high alcohol content, mainly just kills bacteria, but washing your hands with soap gets things off, right? So like if your hands are super muddy and you use hand sanitizer, you're just smearing it, whereas soap is going to help you clean. So yeah, hand sanitizer is a good go-to if you're out and about and you need to eat, but you've been touching things around the store or something. That's good for hand sanitizer, but soap and water is always the way to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now going into the type of games that you play, because like I said, I think you really take variety streamer to like the furthest definition. Because there's some people that stream a variety, but I mean, you do everything from like cozy games to horror games, and that's a pretty big spectrum. What is
Mhm.
it that like draws you to that extreme difference of games?
I have this personality that just likes almost everything. Like I cannot find there's a rare movie, for instance, that I will hate. Um, Unless it's usually if it's like a recreation of a book in the book and it's a horrible recreation, I hate that movie. Like the Mortal Instruments movie sucked and I will never watch it and I will never um verify its existence. But for the most part, like I at least like everything. And I'm very willing to try new things. Recently I taught myself how to sew, and just because I decided I wanted to make a cushion. And so like I I'm not afraid to try new things and broaden my horizons with games. And so I've always liked horror. My mom and my grandma, like we watched horror movies growing up. And so horror games was an easy breach or easy branch to get into. Cozy games, I like to just kind of turn off my brain sometimes and just hang out with the world that I'm in, and it works. I feel like cozy games and reading are kind of very close to each other. They're more passive. It's not super active. You're not like constantly fighting something, but you're constantly taking in new content, like kind of through osmosis rather than like actively. Games are more active than reading, but I feel like there's a lot of overlap there between cozy games and reading. Um, and then like I also play Souls games now and roguelikes, which are super different than cozy and horror, and also they're hard. And I like to challenge myself, but also I get frustrated sometimes, and so like that kind of is a weird balance. But like I feel like anyone could play a hard game if they're determined enough to not give up. Like Souls games, I think the most important quality to have as a person is the determination. Because like anyone can learn the boss. It's just to get over that hump. And sometimes you need a break to get over the hump. But like I've taken breaks from all the Souls games I've played, I think. Except for Elden Ring so far. But yeah. Um, I guess the short answer is that I just like all the kinds of things. And so I broaden my horizons when I can, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's the difference is that like I like a challenge, but I like a challenge that I feel like I can, get past. And I think for me trying to play the Souls-like games, I get to a point of just such frustration that I'm like, I'm gonna throw my controller across the room. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Like Souls is definitely a different beast in itself. I was talking with a friend today about Hades. Hades is a pretty difficult game. But I read this article about God mode on it, and it really makes it like accessible to people who haven't played those kinds of games or who aren't like who don't have a big gaming repertoire to work from, and like don't have maybe the previous hand-eye coordination or whatever. The God mode, it like they're training wheels, and like it's intended to be taken off. Like I think that's the intention of God mode, is eventually you take off the training wheels. And I know we have a friend in the community who played through Hades mostly on God mode, and then she decided to speed run with me and our other friend, and she doesn't do it on God mode anymore, and she can beat it almost reliably every single time. But she did start on God mode, and like that's no, I feel like easy mode is like very shamed in the gaming community, but really it just makes games more accessible to everyone, and like who wouldn't want their favorite game to be experienced by everyone, you know? Like yeah.
Yeah, that is true. It's like you don't want to have the mentality of, if you want to play this, you have to suffer like everybody else.
Yeah,
Like
that's
they're
like that's a different kind of mentality that I hate. That brings me to teaching. That mentality gets me to my teaching brain a little bit. I had an older teacher who was like very experienced to be like, you guys just have to struggle. You just have to work 30 hours extra on top of your normal work week in order to get what you need to get done. It's instead of me sharing with you, that's just how it goes. And it's really like, does it have to be though? Because you struggle, do I have to struggle? But yeah, anyway,
Yeah,
games.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of building up your community, because I mean, you've built it up pretty well. Like
Mhm.
when I see different streamers out there, you have a pretty good community. What do you think has been like your way of doing that, or kind of your method for being able to gain like the following that you have?
I think the best way is to just make friends, which is like hard, but like rating out every time. There's maybe like a hand, like I could probably count on 10 fingers or like on two hands the number of times I didn't rate out. Like you might not want to rate out if you only have like two viewers watching you, but honestly, like, and you don't want to, it feels weird to think about rating for like making friends, but like there's people I've rated into that I hang out with now, and I just like I love them, and I haven't like, it's how you like communicating in those communities and like getting active in those communities helps people like become friends with you, and they're like, "Oh wait, you stream too?" Like it's really fun. And so like that's kind of what happened with me and Cal. It's like I rated him, and then I joined his Discord, and then we started talking, and now our communities are very intermingled and like it's hard to tell them apart. We have a very similar community base now, which is great. And yeah, it's kind of like the merging of communities, which is fun.
Yeah, for sure. Now that's actually a really good story, is, like I because I have a very like unique story with my partner. I love when I hear other people that meet in like really unconventional ways. And like obviously you were able to meet your partner through Twitch.
Yeah.
I'm really curious, like, because you said, you rated him and then it kind of went from there. What what was it about him? Because obviously, like, I've talked
Yeah.
to a few people that are in Cal's community, and they've all talked about like just the way that he is and his personality. But I'm curious what it was for you that like drew you to being interested in him and his channel.
Well, one of the first things, so when I watch streams, I'm like a semi-lurker. I'm usually doing something and chatting and watching and like listening for things I want to like put input on. So voice is very important to me as a viewer. And his voice, like the deep, like calm, I guess. I mean, like he has so much energy, but like like the voice itself is calming, and so his voice is what made me follow and stick around. Um, yeah. And then after like I just found out he was after, that initial voice want, or like not want, that's a weird word, but like I can't grab his personality and his kindness and his energy and everything like that kept me around for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we play
Uh,
similar games too, which was nice.
that is very
Yeah.
true. That is definitely true. And one thing that I think I've loved is that the both of you do a lot of like collab stuff. You play
Yeah.
games together and you've been able to do collaborations with other people in the community. Talk a little bit about that, because I think it's such like, it's not that like nobody else does it, but I think just like this community in particular does it in such a wonderful way.
collabs are just so fun. Like just to be able to play games with your friends. And like it's like, you know, when you're growing up and you invite your friends over and we would play Monkey Ball on the GameCube, you know, like Super Monkey Ball or whatever it was called. But it was just it's so fun to play games. Cal and I in particular, one of the first times we played together was like Mario Kart or Mario Party, probably Mario Party. And that was so fun, you know, got to get to know him and like some of his friends a little bit more intimately than just chatting. And then he also, once we played Call of Duty with my mom, and it was just a lot of fun. My mom judged me hard, and then she was like, "Oh, Cal's a beast." Like we have a clip of her saying that somewhere, but um, yeah, and just being able to play with your friends is just so fun, and so it's so easy to make those collabs. Like recently I did a Hades race with two other streamers and it was just so fun. Like we really wanted, you know, we're competitive. We want to win, but like we not only one of us could win, and so like we all just had fun with the process and with the playing each other and with the chat, and we had commentators and everything, and just I don't know. It's just so fun if I say it again. Um, yeah,
Well, it definitely is. I mean, I
yeah.
think that that's it like now that I've been doing that more, you know, I mean, I just started streaming myself and it's,
Hmm.
you know, funny how it's harder for me to adapt to that than it is for me to talk to people on the podcast. Because you know, you're like you said earlier, you're kind of talking to no one, but there could be a few
Yeah.
people in there, but it's not quite the same thing as a normal conversation, so it takes time to get used to that.
Yeah,
Something
I will
else.
say in the beginning it was hard streaming. When like the chat wasn't super active and like you either had mainly lurkers or just you weren't sure who were there. Like I found not watching the numbers was like the most helpful for my mental health and just like enjoyment of streaming. And so that's why I stopped. Let's see. There's certain games that I don't like playing on stream, because there's not as much to talk about or like for me to talk about the game so that I can find things to talk about. Sometimes cozy games are hard because not much is happening. Like Stardew, it's hard sometimes because you're planting another vegetable or you're picking another vegetable. So you can like talk about what you're gonna do, but like that only takes a second versus like how long it takes to actually walk there. Whereas like playing something like Elden Ring, like there's always an enemy in front of you almost. And if you're like fighting a boss over and over again, like you can be like, okay, I gotta dodge, dodge, dodge. And you're like you're focused on the game, but like I talk while I'm playing it too. And so that way it's not just silence. So it's definitely hard and hard to get used to. Kind of like talking to yourself. But yeah. Teaching helps because I talk to myself as a teacher all the time because no one's listening, but
Yeah, that makes
yeah.
complete sense though, because you're right. There's certain games that there's only so much you can say, because a lot
Hmm.
of it is just repetitive,
Yeah.
and so it's not quite as interesting, probably for people that are watching. Another thing that I know that you've done from time to time, which is something that you know some other folks on Twitch do, is just doing where you're not necessarily playing a game. You know, it's more of a just hanging out and like doing
Hmm.
something, whether it be a craft or you know whatever the case may be. um
Yeah.
how is that part of it for you?
Well, so I did build like a little mini bookshelf house on stream, and that was a lot of fun. I had song requests going so people could play music, and like being able to actively build the thing together and like read the instructions together, it was a lot of fun. I did an art stream where I was drawing one of my emotes. That was fun too. You're kind of focused on the art, and so you don't talk a whole lot. And like I wasn't talking a whole lot, but I think I still had song requests on, and like I would could get chat's input and stuff. Definitely different vibe to gaming. But yeah, I have mood Mondays where I do whatever the heck I want to do. And sometimes that's art, sometimes that's Hades, sometimes like this Monday I'm playing a game with my sister again. It's been a while since she's been on stream. Well, I guess she was here in January, but it's been a while since we like played a game together, like that, like a puzzle game. So we're both very excited for that. kind of a last minute thing. I haven't even bought the game yet, but yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's really cool. I mean, it's just nice to kind of change it up because to me, I think that can be part of being able to grow that base of people who are following you because everybody's interested in something a little bit
Yeah.
different. So they may not like one thing that you're doing, but they may like this other thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
So
It's also
uh,
kind of like a curse too, though. I mean, like being a streamer who only streams one thing is a curse, but also because like if you ever want to do something different, people you're gonna lose almost everyone probably. But like variety streamers, like you pull a lot of people in. But like for instance, I played Subnautica like when I first started streaming, and then I played the second one too, pretty close to that. Where was I? I'm trying to think of which house that's I was in. Maybe like 2 years ago now I played the second one. And I played crowd control Subnautica more recently, and like someone who I haven't seen since the Subnautica streams came back in. And so like you don't really see people again if they're there for the specific game, but then like you can meet people for like you meet someone with Bloodborne and you realize, oh, okay, this is really cool. They stayed around and now they're just a regular who chats no matter what I'm doing, which is great too. Um, so yeah, it's like both kind of weird. And I know, for instance, like if you finish a game pretty quickly, you can't find new people from that game, which is a little harder too. Or like if you switch too often, like it's harder to find people who like that game or like that type of game. I don't know, but yeah, it can be both good and bad. Variety streaming is better for my mental health because I can do whatever the heck I want versus I don't even know what game I wouldn't be able to play a game every day like that. Or like the same game every day. It's not how my brain works.
yeah, no, I'd say I understand that, but I've pretty much been playing Power Wash Simulator almost every day for like the last 2 weeks.
Well, so like I hyper fixate on games intensely. Like I played 200 hours of Baldur's Gate in a month. And like I played a bunch of Hades all at once as well recently. And I also went through a phase of Power Wash Sim where that's all I played. And even Planet Zoo, like I played it for a whole week constantly. But after a week or a month at the most, I don't touch the game for a very long time. So I would get burned out on just streaming that if I felt like I had to stream it forever and ever. Um, that's why I did Mood Mondays as well, is like sometimes I don't want to play Elden Ring. And so this is like my allowance to play what I want instead of feeling like I have to stream Elden Ring kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely understandable.
Mhm.
You brought up crowd control, so I want to hit on that just a little bit because it's probably one of my favorite things.
It's so
I
fun.
I don't know how I do on the receiving end of crowd control, but it's definitely fun as a viewer to
Yeah.
do. Although I will say that like you're so nice that I would find it difficult to send bad things your way. Um, not that Cal's not nice, but it's just really fun to see his reaction to like 6 rune bears at once.
Right,
So
yes. No, I get that. Yeah, I played Crowd Control Subnautica for a bit. It was mainly on my anniversary stream, and then like I said, I would go back to it and I just never did. Um, the worst thing that happened, well, so it's kind of Subnautica's a little different than Elden Ring, but I got like 5 Reapers spawned on my pod. So like they were all swimming around my home basically, and I couldn't get in because there were Reapers there and they could basically instant kill you. And then like they can teleport you really far away. Like once I or they can make you drop things. Someone made me drop my sea glide and I was like 80 feet underwater or something, or 80 meters, and I couldn't get back up in time, so I died. It's just there's a lot that can go on wrong in Subnautica crowd control, but it's definitely different than like Elden Ring where you can spawn a boss or a room bear and it's like more hectic. But yeah, it's a little harder too in Subnautica if someone spawns something like a Reaper because you can't really kill it. You just have to deal with it. There's ways I think you can, but it takes a while and like it's late game like weapons. But yeah, do need to go back to Crowd Control Subnautica. It'll be a Mood Monday game probably somewhere down the line.
that would definitely be a lot of fun. Now one thing that I would like to let land as one of my last questions on for everybody is, what are your personal goals with your stream? Or do you have any goals? Like, is it just kind of keep, doing what you're doing, or is there anything like new that you want to try out?
I don't really have a whole lot of goals. I don't want to be full-time. I don't really need to be partnered, kind of thing. I don't think I could give up teaching. This year I haven't been teaching and I really, really, really miss it. And I don't think I could give up teaching to stream. So I'm kind of unique probably in that way. I do it mostly for fun, mostly to meet people. I still want people to have a great experience and I still want to like look professional and stuff. But like for the most part, it's just fun. And so, like, sometimes I have a hard time investing a lot of time into stream stuff. Like, Cal invests so much time, and I was like, not really so much envy, but like, I admire him for it because I just don't have that kind of bandwidth for that. But yeah, so I mainly do it for fun, mainly do it to meet people, all around the world kind of stuff. So it's really nice to find like different people from around the world who have different thoughts and different beliefs and different experiences, all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But yeah.
it's a fun thing for sure. Now if people want to find your stream, follow what you're doing, where is the place that they can do that?
So my Twitch really, Tayrae3 is my Twitch name. Just search it in the little search bar, I guess. I also have a Twitter account. I don't use it super often. I do post my schedules there when I make them. My Discord, you can find on my Twitch. I post a lot in Discord about stream stuff and my kitties and things like I'm late or I forgot to make a schedule. Here's what I'm doing today. That kind of thing. What else? I have an Instagram. I forget to use it as well. I try to post screenshots or like my art. I have an ambition to make like an art thing of all the games I've played this year. I haven't even started it, but I mean it's only July. But yeah, so that kind of stuff is going to be on Instagram. I have a TikTok, but again, I don't post much on there. Twitch has a nice integration with TikTok, and so like it's easy to post things to TikTok. I just haven't done it like clips to TikTok, but yeah. That's probably it. I mean, I have my YouTube as well. We do Dagger Heart streams. We do TTRPG as well. And those episodes are on YouTube. That's also linked on my Twitch.
Awesome.
Twitch is the center point.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Everything kind of branches from
Yeah.
Twitch.
Exactly.
Well, I hope that, people give you a follow, check out your channel, see what you're up to, because it is a nice variety of games that you play. And, I personally enjoy it, obviously. So if you're watching, please do that. And for this channel, please make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, share, all of that good stuff, and keep watching. And we'll see everybody next time on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It was an honor.
Thanks.